Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences. Welcome to episode 69. Chris is with me today, and we're going to try a little bit different whiskey this week. It's one I picked up while I was on my way back from Florida whiskey hunting in both Tennessee and Kentucky. The only place I stopped in Kentucky was Paducah.
Paducah, that's where we had luck, though.
Yeah, it was. And then so we stopped in Chattanooga, and then Nashville in Tennessee.
Okay.
I can't remember. I think I got this just outside of Nashville.
Okay.
But yeah, interested to try this.
Yeah, Green River, Kentucky bourbon. Guess what? They're the 10th oldest distillery. Yeah. I don't know why you would brag about that. I guess you're not last and you're not first. You got to brag about your...
Maybe because there are a lot of, especially now, newer distilleries, smaller ones.
Maybe. They're in the top 10, I guess, for the oldest.
Right. So this is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 90 proof, and been aged for more than 5 years at the distillery in Owensboro, Kentucky. So we should have us a rich in color with amber hue, made with Kentucky-grown corn from Davies County. Mash bill, 70% corn, 21% winter rye, and 9% malted 2- and 6-row barley. All right. Higher rye content, so we should be getting a bunch of...
You can smell the spice.
Yeah, that's basically what we should be getting up front is a bunch of spice.
Yeah.
It says you should get some hints of...
Maybe some vanilla in there, too.
Yeah. Cinnamon, caramel.
Yeah. The typical stuff we should get.
Of course, when we tried Belle Meade last week,
it
had... We didn't like it, but it had more cherry notes and cinnamon, and I don't like either.
I like cherry. I'm not the biggest fan of cinnamon, but unless it's on toast and sugar's on it.
So additional notes of cinnamon, dried cherry, and light leather.
I don't get the leather.
Good.
Or cherry.
Should have a rich, thick, and lingering finish, which it does. I could honestly tell you right now, it is definitely better than Belle Meade that we had last week.
Yeah, for sure. This definitely has like your traditional whiskey flavors, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's got heat on the back end with the spice, and up front you get that oaky, vanilla, caramel flavor.
Yep. I'm definitely getting a lot of spice, especially the longer you...
Yeah, let it sit in your palate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That spice just stays on your tongue, which I don't care about. Like, I do like, now that we've gotten into more whiskeys, I do like the spiciness of them.
Yeah. At first you're like, oof. And then I know with rye, originally I was like, man, this is too much spice, but this ain't bad.
Because going back to that George Dickel Barrel Select, man, there just wasn't much to it. And it was kind of boring drinking it because, I don't know. Yeah. I expect more. And this definitely has more than George Dickel for sure.
Yeah.
Way better than Belle Meade.
Oh, yeah, a lot better. I'd say it's a lot better than what we had this weekend.
Yeah, the more I drink it neat, the more it lingers.
More burn.
Feel it a little bit in my chest.
Yeah. It's not like crazy hot, but it does have that warmth to it. It's not bad, though.
No.
Definitely has that like darker color, I've noticed.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yep.
Usually those are the better ones anyway.
Yeah.
We'll put it on ice and see what we get here in a minute. So, episode 69, we're getting up there.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. This week, I wanted to talk about more motorcycle-related stuff. I know we've been hitting the hammer on the head with a bunch of gun stuff and what's going on. I almost wanted to talk about that Washington State ban, but we have a whole podcast over that. And we're like, this is everything that the Washington State ban, I think, 1240 House Bill or something like that. And it now looks like it's going to pass. It passed the House, went to the Senate. They passed it with a revision, but it wasn't much. It was basically that you can travel through the state with one of those banned ARs or one of those banned guns that they have. And then that was the only thing they changed. So it's going to go back to the House, and they want to try and actually pass that before the end of the current legislator session, which is April 23rd. As long as they do that, the governor's going to sign it immediately. So
I'm sorry.
I know. It's majority of guns that it's going to ban.
Yeah.
And
I did see something quite funny. I don't remember which state it was. It was a sheriff. I don't know. Did you see this?
Maryland.
Was it Maryland? And he's like, yeah, it's interesting, huh? Criminals still getting guns, especially underage when they shouldn't be able to. Gun control does not work. As hard as you keep thinking, it does not work. It will never work. As long as you got criminals, it will never work. And I just
feel
laughed.
like that's what we've been saying for the last 69 episodes.
I know. But it was just funny to actually hear a sheriff or a deputy, someone of police and arms, and like actually say it instead of like trying to go with the media. Oh, this is an assault pistol because it's a high capacity magazine. No, shut the fuck up.
Most sheriffs are pro 2A.
Yeah. But like once the media gets to them, it's like, oh.
Right.
But I was like, thank you. You need to keep preaching that to the media because he was very sarcastic, and I sometimes you got to be sarcastic and be an asshole about things.
I don't know why they don't get these criminals that are doing these things aren't going to follow the gun laws that they're passing. It's just going to hurt.
I just laughed when he was like, yeah, interesting. I was like,
Yeah,
I like you.
Exactly. Luckily, I think we're safe here.
Yeah. I also saw a thing today, just random thing, said Missouri says it's unconstitutional to have any ban on any gun.
Good.
And I was like, okay, I can get with that.
Right.
So,
yeah, we'll see. Sucks to be in Washington because that's gonna. I know most companies are expediting their orders to Washington State because there's a grandfather clause.
Yeah.
So as long as you had it prior to this being signed into law, you're good. You cannot purchase anything after that. And it was even like you can't even purchase parts that would go on like you can't buy just a grip or like a flashlight that you could mount to your AR or something. You can't buy those.
There's going to be ways around that. You know that. I'm buying a flashlight to work on my car.
Yeah, but I mean the penalties if you get caught are.
I bought a flashlight.
Yeah.
That's its charging station. It just happens to fit on a key mod or an M lock.
It's going to be interesting to see if this goes to the Supreme Court or not. Because this, I mean, that's the strictest gun ban law. That's even worse than California.
Yeah.
At least California, you can own a featureless AR.
Yeah, but you know if they pass it, who's right around the corner? It's going to be California.
California, you got Oregon.
New York, Illinois.
There's already like 10 states that ban a form of ARs. So this is just another one to add to that list.
Gun control states that don't work and have the highest crime rates.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Both coasts, and then you got Illinois.
Yeah.
But luckily we're safe. But yeah, it sucks because Aero Precision, and like I said, they just opened a new massive plant there. They can still sell.
Just come to Kansas.
Right?
And have it right in our backyard.
I know.
That'd be awesome.
So they can still sell. They could manufacture and sell out of state. They just cannot sell to anybody in state. So any FFL. And that, oh God, can you imagine if you're an FFL in that state? That's 95% of your business gone. Yeah. Because what are you going to sell? Revolvers and lever actions and a couple shotguns?
Yeah,
that's it.
What about gunsmithing at that point too? Like,
right.
A lot of that stuff, like, just that wipes out that whole industry pretty much.
Yeah, like
it's kind of like what Bud Light's doing right now.
Yep. But yeah, so go back and listen to our podcast. We go over that in depth, but unfortunately, that does look like it's going to pass here this month, actually. Yeah. So
sorry, Washington.
Yep, sucks to be you.
If you're pro gun, come to the Midwest.
It's a nice, beautiful state, but man, with that stuff,
yeah,
I couldn't live there.
Especially with Canada, like right there now, and they have no guns. Guess where I'm not going to say anything.
Guess who's vulnerable now? What coast is going to get attacked first?
Attacked and try to go in. Yeah. Interesting.
As always, the spiciness has gone down with ice. It doesn't linger as much. It still lingers a little bit, but I'm getting more of the cherry notes the longer it lingers.
You can definitely get it on the back end, that cherry note.
Which I'm not a fan of cherries, but luckily it's not anywhere near strong as Bell Mead.
Bell Mead was there constantly.
It's bad when we don't re-pour whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if we just, our glass is empty and we're not refilling it, that means that's tells you something.
Yep.
We tried Jukebox. What was
Blue
it?
Note.
Blue Note over the weekend.
Oof.
That was not good either.
No.
It tasted like corn.
Yeah, pretty much straight up corn.
Yeah.
That's all it tasted like. I was like,
I'm like, well, I'm glad we didn't do that one on the podcast because that would have been same boat as Bell Mead.
Yep.
But so I wanted to talk about motorcycles. Like I said, I just had my 1,000 mile service on my Iron 883. So we did a podcast last year after I bought it.
Yep.
I think it's titled I Bought a Harley.
Yeah.
And I talked about why I bought that one and stuff like that. And now I've gotten over, I think I checked today, it was like 1,030 miles on it right now or so. And it's been fun.
Yeah.
Fun. And I wasn't sure. I have a motovlog on this channel too where I go over the cost of the 1,000 mile service because it's really hard to find how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
And it's not just an oil change. So it is more than $70. I think pre-tax it was $317 for the Iron 883. Mine's a 2022 Sportster Iron 883. Last year that they're making those.
Yeah.
So not as bad as I thought because I was expecting like $600.
That's what I was like waiting for. I
Yeah.
was thinking like 600-700, maybe even $1,000 just because it's a Harley.
That's what it ended up being, but that's because I did some other stuff. So I figured, because I was already looking at getting a sissy bar from Harley-Davidson's website and just installing it myself, and then grips. But I'm like, you know what? While I have it in there, might as well just have them do it. They had the parts there. And what I didn't realize, and I should have, because anytime you buy a motorcycle part, you buy the part, but then if you read the fine print, it doesn't include the mounting hardware or this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So the sissy bar, it was one price. And then you had to buy the mounting hardware and the quick detach stuff. I'm like,
Yep.
God.
That's
So
where they get you.
luckily they only charged me an hour labor to install it. So, yeah.
Dang.
But, so yeah, it ended up being a lot more than the 1K service. But I'm like, I'm just going to have them do
I was
it.
really waiting for you to be like, I just went ahead and did stage 1. I was really waiting on it.
Man, I would, but God, that's expensive because I have the Ryan Hart slip-on mufflers because I wanted immediately, the first thing I wanted to do was get that deep Harley sound. And I didn't want to do the stage 1 kit yet because it's expensive. So I got the slip-on mufflers, and then you don't have to do any sort of tuning.
Yeah.
It doesn't really change the ratio of air to fuel. But they're super loud. They're almost too loud. So I want to get, and I'm like, well, if I'm doing a stage 1, I might as well do the full exhaust because you're going to get the better benefit out of it. Exhaust, you're spending $800 on. Then you got to buy an air cleaner, which is anywhere from $300 to $600. And then you got to buy a tuner, which is another, $400 ish or so, depending on which one you go with. And then you got to pay for, you don't necessarily have to have it dynoed.
No.
But it's better too.
I bet a lot of those tunes are like preset. They've already been dynoed. They know that they're good and they're efficient.
So there's, depending on which one you go, there's like lists like, if you have this exhaust, this air cleaner, this is how it should run. It doesn't always equate to the best tune. I know a lot of people try and do the auto tune with that stuff and have issues.
Yeah.
So it is better to have it dyno tuned just because that's for your bike.
Yeah.
And you're not going off a map of like other people's bikes, and their driving conditions could be different than yours. So it's not necessary, but I think I would do the dyno. So there's another cost there. So that I think I'm going to go with a little comfort first. I'm going to get the Memphis Shades fairing just because I'm tired of getting pelted by rocks. And
Harley loves you coming in.
Right. I'm going to do that myself, though. I'm going to get that from Revzilla. Yeah.
Where they just see Keith walks in. Cha-ching.
Well,
more cha-ching.
That's the only... This is the first time I've...
That or I was really waiting for you to come back with a new bike.
Right.
I was waiting for it.
I also did another motovlog where it was like I'm having a dilemma. Because the Iron is a great beginner bike. And I'm glad I got that one, even though they tried to talk me into a bigger bike. But I'm like, one is way more than I want to spend for my first bike. And they're just bigger.
Yeah.
And I feel really comfortable on the Sportster. And I mean, it's awesome. It has a decent amount of power, especially for starting off. I mean, you don't want something where you're going to crank it and you're going to pop a wheelie right off the bat. I mean, I guess you could, but not me. I'm too old for that. Maybe if I was in my early 20s. But I'm like, I'm going to stick with the Sportster, even though they tried to get me to buy like the Street Bob and stuff like that. But I've been looking at they came out, I think, last year with the Lowrider ST. Man. It's got the 114 engine, and the fairing on there has gotten rave reviews because it's like something that Harley spent a lot of time doing R&D.
Yeah.
And it's a great fairing, and it's in between a sport bike and not like an actual sport bike, but Harley Sportster line and a bagger.
Yeah.
Because it has bags on it, but they're smaller. So it's not a full 900-pound bagger, but you still have mid controls and it can still rip around and stuff. But you do get a fairing, which is really nice. I always thought, oh man, why would you want a fairing and all that other shit on there? Turns out it's comfort because, man, especially on windy days, if you're driving, you get just that constant wind hitting you. It doesn't sound like it, but it's exhausting. Like it is. And, until you actually go through that, yeah. And then, of course, getting pelted. And we have a lot of construction out here with the suburbs. Yep. So if I'm behind a dump truck or something, getting pelted with rocks, not so much in my jacket, because I have a jacket, but like in my legs, I'm just jeans, does not feel good.
So you just drive by as fast as you can, give them a finger.
Well, here's the problem with the Sportster is, it's only got 54 horsepower. So I can get up and go, but I can't get up and go that fast. So, yeah. But, man, the Lowrider ST they had when I took my bike in for the service, I went up there and I'm like, well, maybe they'll let me test drive one for the day. They weren't too keen on that. And they only had 2 STs, and they were brand new, 2023s. I know I don't want the 2023 because, like everything else, Harley's up their prices on stuff. So I'm like, I don't even mess with that. Give me a used 2022. So the fact that they only had 2, I'm like, yeah, they're definitely not going to let me just take this unless I'm actually serious. Yeah. But then it's like at that point, okay, so I like the Lowrider ST. Mid controls, mini bagger kind of a thing, but you can still move around. But then it's like, all right, or do you just spend a little bit more and go to like the Road Glide?
It's just money. You only live once, right?
Right. The problem is once you get to the ST and up, you're buying a car at that point, price wise, because it's, yeah.
Have you looked at other brands to see if maybe they're might be a little cheaper, but they might have that?
There's Indian,
yeah,
which is a little bit cheaper, and they do have more technology than Harley's. I wouldn't mind going to test drive them, but one complaint I hear a lot of people, because they have electronic throttles.
Yeah.
Those don't get the best reviews, but, they have usually touch screens and more gauges and stuff than a Harley does. Most of those are still liquid cooled versus most Harleys
air cooled.
Air cooled, so you got that. But now everything's getting so expensive. There's not that huge price difference like there used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just, being an American, it's like, you have to have a Harley, right? If you're going to have a cruiser, which I want a cruiser. I do not want a sport bike at all. I want a cruiser.
I'd rather have a sports bike.
I know. I've tried to talk Chris so much into getting a bike. I don't care what it is. Like, if you want a sports bike, get a sports bike. We'll still ride. Yeah. I won't be able to keep up, but
yeah, I just know I'll get in trouble on 2 wheels. Like, I know
as long as you're not fucking around too much, especially if you're by yourself. Like, I speed all the time. Like, I usually go a minimum of 10 over.
Yeah.
Hopefully no cops are hearing this, but I'm not going to say where
I do the speed limit.
Yeah. But wink. I go faster, and I'll pass by cops, and then I think they see me on a little Sportster. I'm like, they're like, oh, he's probably going max throttle right now.
They don't see a sports bike just
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Man,
That'd be me.
My mindset's definitely changed because I'm like, I don't want one of those big bikes with all that stuff on it. And now it's making more sense why you would want that. It's comfort. And the shocks on the Iron, God, they're terrible. I literally feel every bump. You can't see it in the motor vlogs because of the stabilization in the GoPro, but I'm sitting there like this every time I'm hitting a bump, and it vibrates like crazy. Yeah. I've already had a screw vibrate out, which is very common.
That's crazy.
I know.
You would think they'd Loctite everything to make sure that doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're spending all this money on a bike. They know it's an issue because I'm sure they tell you, oh, that's common. Put Loctite on it from the fucking factory, and then you'll have people bitching.
I can't remember if they had it on there. And it was, and it's very common. It was the one that holds on the seat.
Yeah.
It's on the fender. There's one screw that actually holds on the seat. The rest, it's the front of it's just like a
quick detach.
It's like something like that. So there's really only one screw holding on the seat, and that's the one that vibrated out. And it went in, and I'm like, well, this happened. And the sales guy was like, yeah, that happens a lot. Makes sense because, I mean, the screw is so short.
Yeah.
So, and I think I took the seat off because I had, underneath the seat is the tool to adjust the shocks.
Yeah.
So I did adjust the shocks to my weight with all my gear. Slight difference.
Slight.
Not much. Man,
I bet you could put a stiffer spring rate on that. It might help.
Yeah.
But then it might just be like you feel every fucking thing if you go too stiff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, I could upgrade the shocks, but that's another anywhere from $3,000 to $1,000, depending on which one you want to go with.
How much are just springs? Have you looked into that?
I don't know if you can buy just the springs.
I bet you can. It's a coilover shock, so you should be able to replace the spring and get either stiffer springs or softer or whatever you want based on the spring rate, and I bet that would help a lot.
I don't know. I have to look. Usually on the websites, it's the whole.
Yeah. You might be able. I bet there's aftermarket companies that probably make a different spring rate for them.
Probably. Yeah, that's one thing that sucks is every bump. And I got a bad back.
Yeah.
So that does not help at all. It gets really uncomfortable. Between that and getting pelted by the wind, it gets exhausting.
Yeah.
But still fun. Especially like when there's no traffic and you can just rip around. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd get in trouble with one.
Yeah.
I already know the outcome of that.
You say it. I don't know.
I know how I am. I like speed.
So if you were to buy, so that aside, what if you were going to buy a bike and could buy a bike and none of that was an option or a factor, what would you get?
BMW 1200RR.
You're a BMW guy, man.
It's a lifestyle, man.
Yep.
I love the bike. It looks good. It'd be a BMW. I know when I was first getting into motorcycles, I started looking at like Yamaha R1s and R6s and Gixxers 1000s and things like that. Because everyone I talked to, like, do not get a 600. Go up, get the 1000. All like, yes, you got to be careful with them. But it's all in your throttle. So if you can have control of your throttle and understand that, you'll be good. So
let's get you one.
Yeah,
you got a what? What's the old BMW in your garage?
The BMW 3 Series.
Yeah.
E30.
Have a nice BMW bike sitting next to that.
Then I need to get a BMW SUV so I can tow the bike with the car to car
Why
shows.
would you why would you just not ride the bike?
I do all three.
You know, if you did that, we can go to Sturgis.
You know,
I guess you could actually rent a bike.
Yeah. I could take and trailer it all the way to California for Beamer Fest and have my old school 3 Series with my SUV and then the bike next to it, and then load it all back up on the trailer, cross country back. And if I feel like I want to go out for a cruise, just park the SUV and let her rip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I did watch I don't remember what the YouTube video was. They had a BMW 200RR and they put a lot of money, carbon fiber into it, and it's gorgeous. And it was a giveaway bike. I was like, I should just have tried.
Right.
And I was like, that would have been a sign right there.
I mean, it doesn't hurt if it's a giveaway.
Yeah, but
it's
still.
free.
Then I'd have to go to school and get my license and all that.
I mean, it's good. You don't necessarily have to take the MSF course. You could just go and get it, but it's highly recommended, especially if you've never ridden a bike before or it's been a long time. Moving a bike at slow speeds does take practice.
Yeah, I mean, you've got my littlest one wanting me to get a bike now. Like, he saw like a little electric bike. Dad, I want that. I was like, oh, no, you're going to be the kid that's into like extreme sports. And like, he's all about race cars now. So like, he's got the Xbox in there. So he's playing Forza. He's like, Dad, build me this car. And he goes and tries to drive it. I'm doing donuts. Look. It's like, oh God. You got the bug already.
So I need to show him my bike more often. Like, I need to talk to your son and just plant it in his head. Tell your dad to get a bike.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, ooh, bike, red with that. And like every time he goes out and he sees like a Corvette or a Mustang, ooh, I like that. Or a Challenger. He's like, ooh, I like that car. I was like, yeah, I'm sure you do. It's a Hellcat. What do you expect? That's a brand new C8 Corvette. What do you expect?
One thing that does suck is watching out for everybody else.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many times people have pulled out in front of me, and it sucks. I don't have ABS on my bike, so I can't really
lock him
up. So I got to be really careful with that. Luckily, the Sportster's super easy to maneuver, but still, it's like, man, you fuckers. And we live in an area with a lot of suburban traffic.
Yeah. I know
these women driving these big ass cars that have no business driving those.
Dude, I was driving to class this morning. It was up in like Kansas City, Missouri, and it was, oh my God, nerve-wracking. People just getting the fuck over, not blinking, nothing. I'm having my blinker on to get over, and someone just fucking cuts over, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I should have just drove my personal car, got in an accident, have it paid off, and go get what I want.
Yeah.
Because people do not pay attention. They don't use their blinker. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. It's the blinker.
Right.
Which, coming from a BMW owner, that's kind of rare. So, yeah, that just drives me nuts.
Yeah, and there's been several times it's like, I know you see me.
Oh, yeah. They don't give a fuck. I've
seen you hesitate and look, and then you're like, oh, well, I'm going to try and push it and make it through. Because, God forbid, they have to wait like a couple seconds.
That or like, they see everyone over to get over in that lane to get off the off-ramp. So they're going to be the late mergers and cut everyone off to make everyone slam on their fucking brakes. It's like, come on. You see the line.
Mm-hmm.
You're not blind. And if you are, don't be driving.
It's like, man, I do want to take it on the highway, but I'm skeptical because, God, I-35 and 435 around here are
nightmares depending on the time.
Yes. And then road debris all the time. And it's like, man, it's not a big deal running over something in a four-wheel car.
Yeah.
If you don't have the reaction time to move out of the way on a bike, man, you're fucked.
Yep.
And all this stuff flying everywhere. It's like, I've seen videos of people with their GoPros and they get hit in the visor with something and it just shatters the visor.
Yeah, that'd be, oh my gosh.
That would suck. So it's like, okay, I at least need to get a fairing.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough decision.
It is. Luckily, so the Sportster only has 5 gears. So hitting 70 for a long period of time is going to get annoying because the loud exhaust, revving that high, just that tone gets so annoying. But ST, on the other hand, if I were to get that, or even a Road Glide, I mean, those are
6, 7 gears,
6
maybe
gears.
Even 9.
Nah, they're 6.
Oh, they are.
But those are meant for longer distance cruising on the highways.
See, that'd be the thing. I'd want to go on cruises like on the weekends. Like if it's really nice, like how the weather is right now, I'd be like, let's go down to Pitt for like a cruise and then drive back.
Which would be fun. And I would do that because that highway's not as crazy.
Yeah.
On this bike I have now, that would be super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But that would really be fun. You have the bags of store stuff or whatever, go have lunch, hang out, drive around, especially the country roads. Kind of fun, but we just don't have the bike to do it. We could.
Should have just traded it in. Got that ST.
Well, why would I buy a cruiser and cruise down to Pittsburgh by myself? And I don't want to do it with you in your car because that just isn't the same. Or maybe I have you drive in front of me and you catch all the bugs and shit. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's fun. But city driving, I like the Sportster, it being smaller, not so heavy. I think city driving with a bigger bike would kind of suck just with that extra weight.
Yeah, it would. I don't know. I want a bike and I don't. But I'd rather be in a car, have more protection.
Yeah, but it like weekends. Like I thought about going out like during Easter, but I ended up doing yard work. But it's like at that time, there's not a whole lot of people. Like say you wake up early, so get up early in the morning on the weekend.
Yeah, go cruise.
And then once you get out of the city, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So luckily we live out south, so we just drive south or whatever. And yeah.
Yeah, I do miss just driving around and cruising a little bit. That's one thing I miss a lot. Because I used to do that all the time in San Diego. Just go out for a cruise, or even like back in high school, we'd go on cruises, but I don't know. I
used to do that all the time when I had my Camaro.
Yeah. It's
different when you have a sports car versus, I'm going to take my truck out for a cruise. Not as fun.
Yeah. It sucks.
And plus, I drive long distance for work anyway. Like,
I'm
going to drive downtown and all over the town. So it's like, I'd rather not. I'll take the bike out, take that around town, but.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if I got a bike, though, it'd be definitely a BMW. If it wasn't the street bike, I'd probably get their K series and then turn it into like a cafe racer.
You don't think about the cafe racers, aren't they? They're going to be more uncomfortable, though, right? Because you kind of...
They can be. They're kind of like cruisers, though.
And you got bad knees.
I got bad knees and bad back, so...
So you might want to go for comfort.
Yeah. I don't know.
And you're taller, so I don't know how the mid controls would work for you. You might want the forward. I don't know.
Yeah. I know. I just don't... I've never been a big Harley guy, like, or that type of bike. Like, never. I've always been a sports bike or a cafe racer.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different brands. You got Triumph, you got Victory, you got
Ducati,
Honda, Kawasaki,
Suzuki.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. It doesn't have to be a Harley.
Yeah,
me, I like the,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big German guy, so
fair enough. Hey, as long as you're on two wheels, it doesn't matter.
Might do Honda since I do drive Hondas, but
Honda Shadow you can get for pretty cheap.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely, I'd almost be the point where I just would want to build my bike at that point. I don't want to buy it and have to tear everything up.
Do you know enough about bikes to build one, though?
I think I do. They're pretty much a little 4-cylinder engine, so wouldn't be hard. I know how to do suspension on a car. I'm sure it's not that much different from a bike.
A little easier to work on.
Yeah.
You can see
it's all
everything.
right there.
You don't have to get under it. You get a lift.
Yeah. It'd be a lot easier.
Bikes are easier to work on.
Yeah, and I got plenty of tools to work on them.
Right.
So I think it'd be fun, and I don't know, be cool just build your own little cafe racer and take it out.
I think you should just at least take the MSF course.
Yeah.
And see if you even
I thought about doing that. I thought about doing that.
And then that way, get your motorcycle endorsement, and then you can actually go test drive bikes before buying one, which I made the mistake of not doing that. And
I was going to ask you if you thought that was a mistake or not.
Yes and no, because because I would have been still learning, and so I still would have been hesitant to get on the bigger bikes anyway.
Yeah, but if you drove around and saw that you were getting pelted and everything, learning, and be like, oh, I don't really like that. I think I would want something with a fairing. I think that would have maybe changed your mind earlier on.
Yeah.
I persuaded you like, okay, yeah, I understand this is $5-6 grand more, but I'm getting all these comfort features that I don't have on this bike.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I know I would have liked to test drive some bikes because I did see that really sweet Indian freaking Scout.
Yeah.
And I couldn't test drive it. So I'm like, I don't know how it's going to feel because it did have forward controls and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I know the Iron. I sat on it. It feels good. The Harley dealership has that thing to where you actually sit on it and actually get to go through the gears. I'm like, and you start off on a smaller Harley. So I was comfortable with that. I don't know. I still think I would have been too scared to test drive a bigger bike just because I wasn't coming out of the MSF course. It's like I'm more comfortable, but I still need practice. Like I don't want to.
Or would you rather like tried, let's say the Indian Scout would ride it just to compare the two?
Oh yeah, definitely. I would have.
Just so then like, oh, maybe the Harley, yeah, I like a little bit of it, but the Scout, I like how it's got more technology into it.
It had more technology. It had just from what I could tell sitting on it, like a super expensive, really good suspension.
Yeah.
it did have a fairing and stuff. And the guys were like, man, I didn't know anything about Indians at the time either. But this place I looked at has all sorts of bikes, and they let you actually sit on them and stuff. So you get to try everything. And they're like, man, this bike is crazy customized. Like, this bike is going to go really fast. And I think they only wanted like 10 grand for it,
Jeez.
Which was less than the Sportster. And I'm just like, man, I don't know about the forward controls, but it had the Vance and Hines exhaust, had the fairing, had some bunch of custom stuff, an upgraded seat, suspension, obviously, and just all these trim pieces. It was a badass bike. But I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I do wish I would have been able to test drive that compared to the Sportster.
That probably would have made your decision a lot easier.
Yes. Because I'm like, I was really thinking about buying that, but I'm like, I just had my mindset on the Iron.
Yeah, I'm really shocked, though, too, by Harley, like how they're still air-cooled, not liquid-cooled. Like, I'm like, man, that technology's old.
And that's why they stopped production on the Sportster, because now they are going to, like, the Sportster S.
Yeah.
That has got the new technology, liquid-cooled. It's got all these different modes, so you could do sport, rain, all that stuff. So they're trying to
compete with all the other ones now.
Go that route. So in order to do that, they did have to get rid of the Evo engine that's been around since the 80s.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it. It is annoying, but it is kind of cool just having that
a lot
bike.
Cooler between your legs, too.
This time of year, winter and spring, not a big deal. Summer, yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. I was like, I would definitely want a liquid-cooled bike.
Yeah, because I sweat a lot anyway, and that just makes it even worse.
Yeah.
In full gear,
yeah, especially in the summer when it's 100 degrees.
Sitting in a traffic light.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Because I know how it is sitting in a car with no AC in the summertime.
Oh, yeah.
So I could only imagine what it is on a bike where you're actually pretty much on the road, feeling that heat rise up. You don't have any insulation between you and your seat.
Yep. And the problem with me is, if I go test drive anything else, I'm going to be like, oh, well, this is my new favorite bike. Like, I can't go back to the Sportster.
Yeah.
Let's trade it in. And I know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, he's like, if you come back during the week and you test drive the ST, I'm like, no, because what's going to happen is I'm going to end up really liking it. And it's going to be way more, like, even with the upgrades that I want to do with the Sportster, I don't think I'm going to get anywhere near the cost of that ST, because it's
probably
the brand new ones, brand new 2023 MSRP is like $23,000.
God,
and that's good luck getting it at MSRP.
Yeah,
because you got to pay the crate fees, you got to pay all these other shit, and then taxes and stuff. So
that's sickening to me.
Oh yeah,
$23,000. I can go buy a nice used SUV and have all the comfort.
Exactly. That's why I say it's like buying a fucking car.
Oh my God.
But anything above that is even more.
Yeah.
I mean, you jump into the touring bikes.
Yeah.
That's easy. 30, 40, up to 50,000 for a fucking bike.
Yeah. I know when I was doing a JCCC, the automotive course, I had a teacher, he had a bike and he rode it in winter. I was like, what in the world are you doing? He's like, oh, I got it was a BMW, of course, heated suit, heated grips, heated everything. He's like, I'll drive this thing year round. I was like, oh my God. He's like, it's got ABS, it's got this. I was like, on a bike, you got ABS, traction control, and all this stuff. I was like, this is crazy.
Well, even Harleys do have, like, they do offer ABS on the Irons.
Yeah.
They did, but all the ones they had at the dealership did not have them.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my God, I couldn't believe, I was like, all that technology into a bike. Mm-hmm. I was like, that is crazy.
Oh, once you get into those touring bikes, the technology in those things, or at least the, I guess, comforts. I mean, they have USB ports to plug in your phone. They got cubbies. They have cup holders.
Yeah.
They got freaking, obviously, stereo systems. But to me, I think it's stupid. But,
yeah,
teach his own. If you don't, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would just put earbuds in and listen to my helmet.
Yeah, I was talking to him about it, and he's like, yeah, I'd take this thing everywhere. It doesn't matter, rain, sleet, snow. He's like, my suit's insulated for rain, so I can't. If I'm cold out, I just put the heated element on, and
that's
me up.
Where having the bags is nice. You put all that rain gear in the back, and then if you got to pull over, just pull it out.
Yeah,
I could get a heated jacket or something, because that battery tender charger, it could plug in there, but
or you could buy the Milwaukee one with the little M12. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was just shocked that he got a whole suit from BMW. It plugs into the bike, keeps him warm, and I was like, what?
Yep.
I was like, that is nuts.
Well, if you're spending the price of a SUV on a bike, you're at that point it's like, all right, I'm gonna freaking ride this unless it's snowing or something.
Yeah, I mean, he rode it in the snow too. Like I was just like,
I'd be a little.
he rode it year round in Kansas. I was
No,
like,
I don't know
crap.
about that one.
I couldn't. I was shocked because he told me the mileage. I can't remember how much it was, but I was just like, "You got that much on a bike?" He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh my god, that's like unheard of." He's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "What?" I was like, the highest mileage I've ever seen on a bike was like 25,000 miles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, those touring bikes.
Yeah, he was saying like I think upwards of 140,000 miles on it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "Holy crap!"
No, you get those touring bikes, and they coast to coast. Have you heard of the Iron Butt Challenge?
No.
So there's an app that tracks this, and you got to do things to keep track of it to actually get certified. But that's basically doing 1,000 miles in 24 hours.
Jeez.
A lot of people do it, and you basically track it. It tracks where you're going on the app, and then you just show your gas receipts and stuff like that. So there's a way to track it, and if you do an Iron Butt Challenge, you're basically doing 1,000 miles in 24 hours.
Damn.
Which on some of those, people do it all the time, especially on the touring bikes. What I'm looking at, I can't do that. And I don't know if, driving a car, like I love road trips.
Yeah.
Like you do. I don't mind driving coast to coast, whatever. But there's a point where, one, you kind of space out, where you get tired and it's like.
Yeah, I think my threshold is like that 15, 16 hour. I'm just like, let's hurry up, finish up.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how it would be on a bike because, you got to be way more conscious of what's going on. Not only are you constantly watching other people around you, you're dealing with the elements, the wind noise, all this stuff. And to do 1,000 miles, that's tiring. Like,
yeah, I don't know about that.
There's a lot of YouTubers I watch, and they do it, and it's like, how do you stay focused for that long?
I don't know. Lots of
cruise
coffee.
control is nice, but still,
I'm sure these bikes have adaptive cruise control like what these cars do now, where it maintains that speed and that distance for you.
You think? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure they do. If we got them in SUVs and cars, I bet they're in a bike. I guarantee it.
It'd be nice. I don't know. That
Yeah, because if you could just set adaptive cruise control and it maintains that distance and that speed the entire time, that'd probably be easy.
Yeah. Sit
there and listen, watch videos on your phone while you're going,
I don't know if I'd be doing that on a bike. But yeah, they got but those.
Wait till Apple comes out with the heads-up display glasses. You can watch a video on this one and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I need a better helmet too because the wind noise that I get.
Yeah.
It like I have tendonitis really bad in my ears, even with noise canceling earbuds in, ring like crazy, and it's between the exhaust and the wind noise, it's uncomfortable. But I know with the fairings that helps.
Reduce all the noise and everything.
That's why it's like, man, I don't know. But then again, it's like I kind of want to keep the Sportster because it's the last year that's ever going to be made. So there's a ton of them out there.
So many of them.
I know.
So it won't even really. But if you saved it and kept it for hopefully resale value in the future as an investment, I don't think it really was because there's so many of them.
Same thing with the Mosins, though. When I first started collecting them, there's so many of them out there. You can buy them for $100. Now they're going for $700.
Yeah, but I don't know, the 883, everyone's has one. It seems like. Yeah,
but everyone is doing something to it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are crazy customizing them. They're doing the bobber style stuff that's really popular. The cafe, what's the club style?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think
you should go test drive some other bikes.
Yeah, I want to. I want to test drive the Lowrider ST. I thought about the Street Bob, but I'm like, at that point, it's like the ST, but no bags, no fairing. It's like, it's still pretty expensive. I'd rather just go up.
You go test drive an Indian.
Which one though?
Scout.
Because the Scout's comparable. I'd
Yeah.
want to get something at that point. If I'm going to get a different bike, I want to get something bigger, more fairings. The Scout, could you get a fairing? Yes. I think I'd be more into the Chief or Chieftain ones.
That or go test drive a BMW.
How much do they go for, though?
It depends. Like 20, depending on what you get. Sure, it depends on like what technology package they have in them and all that and what it has.
Right.
So I know I've been finding a couple of the 1200 RRs for like 14, 15 with like 2,000 miles on them. But I'm sure some of their touring bikes are probably a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep my bike for at least another year.
Yeah.
2-year warranty, so I'm going to at least see through the warranty because I did not buy the extended warranty.
Yeah.
And I've already had to use it for a cracked piston after, 500?
Yeah, not even 500 miles.
Yeah. Hopefully that was a fluke. I don't know.
Yeah, when you told me that, I was like, I'm definitely not buying a Harley now.
Yeah, but then, I don't know. So, yeah, it's I'm definitely going to keep it for at least the next year, get more comfortable on it and experience. I think I'm going to wait on doing any engine upgrades.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for the fairing and the seat first and then go from there. I don't want to. God, I was also looking into, you can do the conversion kits to like the S&S or Hooligan from, you could go 1200, 1250, 1275.
Yeah.
That's got to void your warranty at that point.
I bet it does since it's not a Harley product.
Even if you had Harley do it.
Yeah, I don't think they would because it's not Harley brand. Because I know in the car industry, BMW used to be like, oh, yeah, well, your warranty's still good if you use Dynon products at the time or Alpina. But then they're like, we're losing a lot of money doing this. No. Warranties are now going to be voided. You get, unless it's a BMW Power Sport or Motorsport part, that's the only way they'll warranty it. So what Dynon started doing is like, if something happens because of our tune or our parts, we'll cover the repairs of the cost of it. So
I know Harley used to be really strict. They're like, if you put anything aftermarket and we don't do it, it's void your warranty no matter what. They got sued for that.
yeah.
So I think they've...
Because there's a lot of people out there that are probably certified mechanics that might not work at a dealership or whatnot. So you're saying that I don't know how to do something even though I'm certified.
Yeah. So Harley's changed that practice recently. I can't remember if it's, you can do whatever, but you have to have a Harley dealership do it, or I forgot what it is, but they've changed it. But still, it's like...
Have they said anything about your slip-on mufflers?
Oh, no, that's fine because it doesn't change anything with the engine.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
some companies get down like, oh, you changed the exhaust, you made modifications to it, and done.
no, because that, like I said, it doesn't really change the ratio. So it just changes the sound pretty much. Now, if I do the stage 1, I don't know. I would have the Harley dealership do it just because to get it dyno. But it's also like, I don't know of any motorcycle shops around here that would.
There's another one here in Olathe.
Is there?
It's like a little sports speed shop for motorcycles. It's over, I want to say off of Old Kansas City Road. It's right over there by Olathe Glass, actually.
We'll have to look into
It's
that.
like behind there, right behind there. Because I think it's Kansas City Avenue or Old Kansas City Road. Like you go back there and it's a little shop. It's been there, I don't know how many years, forever that I know of.
I have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I would love to get the Lowrider ST or whatever, but that price tag.
Well, I didn't win the lottery, so I'm sorry.
Oh, if I won the lottery, hell yeah.
If I won the lottery, I'd have a lot of things.
I'd keep the Sportster and then buy
every other bike.
several bikes. I'd buy an Indian. I'd buy another Harley. Who knows?
Yeah, I'd probably buy like at least 1 or 2 bikes, and then my cars would be stupid.
Oh, yeah.
And that'd be my YouTube channel.
Yep.
Just me building cars and bikes
for
fun, and then going on a cruise, motor vlog. Oh, we're going to the track today. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Or let's see what I'm shooting today down in my basement.
Yeah. There you go. Yep. Well, everybody needs to comment down below and tell Chris he needs to man up and buy a bike.
Good luck with that.
And let us know if you guys have a Sportster or have owned one. Let us know what kind of upgrades you've did to yours or have done to yours, and then maybe what, if you went to another bike, what you guys upgraded to from the Sportster. a lot of people start off with the Sportster and then eventually go into the different
brands
models
and everything.
Well, a lot of people will either go up to the Street Bob or they'll skip the whole Softail and go into the touring bikes.
Or if you switch brands, tell us what your favorite brand of bike is.
And why.
Yeah. That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah. So, cool. Well, I think that's all we had. A little bit of motorcycle talk.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. Next week is episode 70.
Ooh.
Yep. So, like we say every time, if you're a gun owner, check out Right to Bear because you do need that self-protection insurance just because you never know. Something good to have. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yep.
We've gone over that. But yeah, check the description below for that. And with all of that jazz.
Remember, this is a YouTube podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and tickle that bell. If you're listening on any other platform such as Apple or Spotify or Amazon, please like and follow. And with that, everyone, have a good one.